Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Now if you guys are new to my channel, hello, my name is Zai. I make motherhood and lifestyle content. It's been a really long time since I've done a sit down video with you guys. I am talking about a very overwhelming topic, which is potty training, but my goal for this video is for you guys to not feel super overwhelmed at the end and maybe even get a little bit excited about it. I am going to be looking at my phone quite a bit because I have notes on here in case I happen to forget something. I don't want to have to forget something and then put it in later. So before we begin, I do want to mention a couple things. This is a judge-free zone. We got a lot of opinions about potty training, about how there's a right way and a wrong way, and I don't necessarily believe in that. I think every child's different and what works for them works. To add on to that, I want to also mention that I am sharing my experience. I am not in any way a potty training expert. Okay, I'm sharing with you guys my mistakes and things that I did that actually worked for us. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about how things should be done. This is just how we did them. And then the last thing I want to mention is Lucas is currently 26 months old, so 2 years, 2 months. And he is now, I don't want to say fully potty trained. He still wears pull-ups during naps and overnight. But throughout the day, we are strictly wearing underwear. I did try to potty train him once when he was 15 months old. Now some of you guys may be thinking, wow, Zai, that's really young. And other people may be thinking, oh yeah, I potty trained my kid at that age or even younger. I will say that trying at 15 months old was very unsuccessful, and I partially thought he was ready, but another part of me was also giving in to outside voices, just feeling pressured to potty train him. But I will say that that failed attempt really taught me a lot. All right, now we can officially jump into the video, and I'm gonna answer the most frequently asked question, which is, how do you know they're ready? Now, I've read a couple of blog posts about this, about showing signs of readiness. When I had mentioned I tried potty training Lucas at 15 months old, what got me thinking, oh, maybe he's ready to be potty trained, is he did not like getting changed laying down anymore. I think it was just a vulnerable position for him at that point. And so that's actually when I switched over to pull-ups. Some people use pull-ups as a potty training method. We did not. I used it as this is underwear, and since he doesn't want to lay down while I change him, I'm just going to treat it as underwear except he can pee in it sort of situation. So we didn't use pull-ups as a potty training method, but because I initially thought, okay, he doesn't want to lay down anymore, he doesn't want to get changed, maybe he's ready. I was wrong. He just didn't like that position. It was very, what I'm assuming, vulnerable for him. He cried and cried and cried. And so for a couple months after I tried potty training him at 15 months old and that didn't work, we just ended up using pull-ups from then until now. Now this time around, at 2 years old, he started taking off his diapers. He started taking off his diapers. He started asking me to take off his diapers. I'd catch him after a nap just being naked because he took it off during his nap time. And so I thought, okay, this is showing me a sign of readiness. He does not like wearing diapers. He seems really uncomfortable by wearing it. And I don't know if your child has this issue, but mine, Lucas, he would actually kind of sweat back there a little bit. And so it would cause him a rash constantly. And so the reason I didn't potty train him right at 2 is because we were in the middle of moving and there was a lot of change going on, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wait till we settle down in our new house and then I'm gonna get started. And I pretty much started right away. Right as we got settled, I didn't want to make any more excuses because I could tell he was uncomfortable in his diapers. Now that's not to say he was so willing to get on the toilet, but we'll get to that. I do want to mention, don't focus so much on the age. Like I previously said, for Lucas, when we tried potty training him at 15 months old, that didn't work out. But for other kids, it did. I've heard many stories from friends, family, where they potty trained their child really young and it worked out wonderfully. And then their second kid, they potty trained a lot later on, because it's just every child is different. So it's important not to focus on age, at least from what I've experienced. But I will say, and I have read, and it does make a lot of sense, when you wait too long to potty train your child, it does become increasingly difficult. And it makes sense because they say that your child becomes more attached to the diaper. It's kind of like with the pacifier. With Lucas, we stopped giving him the pacifier at 15 months old, and it was actually while I was trying to potty train him. And then for some reason, I just decided to throw them away. We didn't wean him off it or anything. It was just kind of like, cut it, cold turkey, and he did great. And then just recently, he actually found a pacifier because I saved it as memories. He had no idea what to do with it. Like, he didn't even remember that that was his like favorite thing ever at one point. So I was a little like shocked that he had no idea like what this thing was. So I'm using that as an example because I can understand why experts say that the longer you wait, the more difficult it can be. It is important, if you don't want to be super overwhelmed with potty training, it doesn't have to be very overwhelming. It's important though to educate yourself on the method of potty training that you want to do. And for me, I thought that was really important because as a first-time mom especially, I had no idea what I was doing. And so I needed some sort of guidance. I needed a guide. And so I basically did the like 3-day potty training method. Now, I didn't follow everything exact. I did read a book. I'll link that book down below for you guys. And the woman who wrote the book was very strict. I wasn't as strict. I was more focused on Lucas and his cues, and you mamas know your babies better than anyone else, so that's basically what I'm trying to get at. But I will go into more detail about those 3 days in just a little bit. Make sure you and your partner are on the same page, because if you guys start arguing about like what way to do it in front of your kid's gonna get really flustered and overwhelmed, and so are you, and things are not gonna go down well. So you and your partner definitely sit down and talk about things the night before so you guys are on the same page and can actually work together as a team. That's something Steven and I did, and it helped so much. We did the reward method system, whatever you want to call it. Essentially, anytime Lucas used the potty, I gave him a treat. So I actually got this little cup, and it had like a closed lid because I'm keeping it in the bathroom and that's kind of gross. And I would open up his fruit snacks. I wouldn't give him like the whole bag. I gave him one. Every time he went, he was able to pick it out of the little cup, and he got one fruit snack every single time he used the potty. And that helped a lot. Now, I only did that for like the first 2.5 weeks, and then I stopped. Indoor activities are essential because you're gonna be home for like, well, I should say, if you're gonna do my method, if you're gonna do the method I did, the 3 days, indoor activities are essential because we did not leave the house for 3 days. The 3rd day, we left for about 30 minutes, but again, I'll get to that. We did not leave the house majority of the time for the first 3 days. We just stayed home all day. So indoor activities are essential, and making sure that they're not anything messy or involving water. Now, your child is going to need your undivided attention. Undivided attention while potty training. At least, again, how I did things, I gave Lucas my undivided attention. So I made sure that first day of potty training, I woke up before him and I did all the things that I needed to do before he woke up, because I knew the only other opportunity I was going to get to get anything done was when he napped. So that was super crucial, and it also helps you better prepare for the day. You don't just like roll out of bed and start dealing with your 2-year-old and trying to potty train him. That just sounds super overwhelming. Like, being able to wake up, have your alone time, drink your coffee, do all the things you got to do. Like, it's important to prepare yourself. And then a tip that I will give is to always have 409 or some sort of carpet cleaner handy with a rag that you don't care about, because accidents are going to happen. That helped me a lot. Instead of trying to like run around and look for something, I always had my rag and my 409 handy, and that worked so good. Okay, now I'm gonna get into the nitty-gritty, all the details from day to day of potty training. So we're gonna start with day 1. Day one was the strictest day, I will say. Day one, we did not leave the house, we did not turn on the TV, and I was by Lucas's side every second of the day. Now, especially because this was the first day of potty training and everything was new for him, I did ask him every 10 to 15 minutes if he needed to use the potty. Now, I think terms especially are important. Like, you don't want to switch over between potty, toilet, bathroom. Like, stick to one word. That way your child knows what you're talking about instead of confusing them. So I stuck to the word potty. Every 10 to 15 minutes, I would ask him. And when I started realizing that he was having accidents because he'd be like, no, I don't need to go, I just started taking him. Now, with taking them that often, things can get a little difficult because if you take them too frequently, they start to hate it and they rebel against it. And I learned that from the first go around when he was 15 months old. So I tried to be very careful. I would kind of just like check on him, make sure he was still dry. He also knew the difference between dry and wet, so that helped as well. But when I realized he started staying dry longer, then I would sort of like increase the time. I didn't use timers very often. I did for like the first few hours in the beginning of day one, but then I stopped using a timer. I sort of just like gauged it and just kind of guessed from the last time you went to the potty. So basically, as the day went on, I increased the time and I knew he could go longer each time. Let me mention this real quick too. When I read that 3-day potty training book that I just recommended to you guys, the woman who wrote the book mentioned that there's no such thing as a child who isn't ready. It's typically the parent who isn't ready to potty train the child. I think in certain scenarios, maybe that can be true, but through my experiences, it didn't feel true. For me, like I mentioned, at the 15-month-old mark, Lucas could not hold his pee for longer than 5 minutes. So the first hour of potty training, I went through every single pair of underwear. So imagine my frustration and how overwhelmed I felt. I kind of felt like a failure, but after experiencing that day, I was like, Lucas is not ready. If he cannot hold his pee for longer than 5 minutes, like, what am I doing? Like, I am forcing something on him that he's clearly not ready for. I already forgot to mention this earlier in the video with getting started, but something else that's super important and crucial and will determine how this process goes is it's really important to not shame your child for having accidents. I know, it can be super frustrating to constantly have to pick up after them, change them. Having a positive attitude, it makes such a huge difference, and I know that especially because of how the first time went versus the most recent time, current time of potty training. And not that I shamed Lucas the first time, but my attitude, like you could tell I was stressed out. I was super stressed out, especially because it's like we went through all of his underwear in the first hour. So I was not having a good time, and I could tell he was feeding off my energy, and it didn't make it fun for him, and he was fighting me on the toilet, and it was not a good time. Now, once Daddy got home, once Steven got home, more accidents happened because I let my guard down just a little bit, and I shouldn't have, and I stopped following him around everywhere. I just got distracted, I guess, with cooking dinner and doing all those things. So he had a few more accidents, and then I learned my lesson from that, and the next day I did things differently. But I know when like your partner gets home, things can get a little chaotic. Just remember to stay focused on the goal. If you guys have to order food, like if things are just not going well and you guys have to order something so that you can pay attention to your little one and making sure that you're giving them undivided attention, then do that. All right, day 2. Day 2 was a little bit more relaxed. I was still following him around everywhere, but I was able to like see him from a distance and make myself an iced coffee, do things like that, right? But then I decided, let's go outside. Actually, I did that the first day too. This book that I mentioned like earlier said they don't recommend you going outside, they recommend you staying indoors. However, I have a sliding glass door that leads to my bedroom, and in my bedroom is my bathroom. So I was like, I can literally run him in and go to the bathroom. That helped. Now, if you guys have a backyard and it's easily accessible to a bathroom from your backyard, I say go for it. It definitely helps you and your child that day to like get some fresh air and be outside, but not like have left the home, you know? So if they have an accident, and he can also be in his underwear in our backyard, so that was very helpful. Forgot to mention that. But yeah, so second day 2, we went outside. We basically just played ball or colored. What other things did we do? I had him help me a lot in the kitchen. Just doing little things. We'd do puzzles. Puzzles were a big thing too. I made a point in my notes. The point is to try to avoid as many accidents so that when they do finally use the potty, we can praise them and they soon can begin to understand that is where they need it to go. Wanted to make that point. I had it written down perfectly in my notes. Because accidents aren't a bad thing. It's a new learning process. It's a new learning curve, learning how to use the potty for the first time. I did, however, never tell him that it was okay. You know, sometimes his parents were like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. No. If he had an accident, I didn't shame him, but I also never said it was okay. I would say things like, we do not go pee or poop in our pants. We go pee and poop in the potty. I would affirm that to him constantly. I was super repetitive throughout, honestly, like the first week and a half, 2 weeks, super repetitive, saying those same exact words. We do not go pee or poop in our pants. We go in the potty. And he started to like repeat it too with me. And I would sometimes show him his underwear and I'd say, look, your underwear's wet. Your underwear is supposed to stay dry. And I would say little things like that, and that helped him too. Second day though, I will say we did actually watch a movie. They do say not to turn on the TV because they kind of just like zone out like zombies and they forget. So I was very aware of that. But the second day, I just felt, again, mom instincts, that he'd be okay watching a movie. So we watched the little Charlie Brown movie, and again though, I didn't zone out. I was like, every 10 minutes, do you need to use the potty? Do you gotta use the potty? Sometimes I'd even like feel up on him a little bit because I wanted to make sure that he did not have an accident. Still not wearing pants the second day. And so he did still continue to have accidents, but the accidents definitely lessened. And now we're moving on to day 3. Day 3 was the first day wearing pants. I did not put anything loose fitting, however, because I wanted to be able to see if he had an accident still, because he was gonna have some. And that was also the first day that we did our first outing. It was a quick 30-minute outing. We did a Target pickup. We got Starbucks just through the Starbucks drive-thru, and he did very well. I didn't want to take him out for too long, but I wanted to try it out. And I made sure that these places too were a really close distance, because you don't want to go somewhere that's like 30 minutes away, because it's 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. This was like literally 5 minutes down the road and 5 minutes back. So we were gone for about like 30 minutes. And I actually vlogged that. I was very happy about that. That was very successful. Day 3 was basically just like day 2, except he was wearing pants, and I didn't have to be like right next to him the entire time, day 3. Which honestly was like a huge relief for me too, because he started to get the idea more and more, especially with the reward system with the treats. Some people do stickers and treats. Some people just do their favorite treat like I did. Some people don't do it at all. But I didn't complicate things. I just was like, he loves fruit snacks, and those are his favorite things ever right now. So that's gonna be the reward system. That's gonna be what I give him every time he goes. And especially because we started to like lessen the accident. The more he had successful runs, the more he got little snacks, and he was like, oh, awesome, like I'm excited about this, like let me do it again. I know some people totally advise against that, they don't believe in that, but hey, it worked for us. Someone asked me a question. They said, what if your child is not comfortable going poop? They do say that they can get constipated, which I started to see that. But if they're not comfortable, that's why it's really important to do things that will hopefully help make them feel more comfortable. And that has to do with like your overall demeanor and sometimes giving them things that they want. Like I said, like his fruit snacks or stickers. And that's why people like suggest doing things like that. Now, if your toddler's like full-blown screaming, again, I'm not an expert. I don't know what you should do. But if they're just having a little hard times, Lucas is not a morning person. So when I would take him straight to use the bathroom in the mornings, he was like not happy and he'd whine, and so I'd kind of have to talk him off the ledge and I'd say, no, we have to try. But I was never like forceful with him. I was always making sure that he felt comfortable and that we at least tried. And then once he wanted down, like I would talk to him, like if he wants to get down, then he would tell me like I'm all done. Just a couple of tips. I would always take him straight to the bathroom right when he woke up in the morning. Right before he went down for a nap, right after he woke up from a nap, and right before bed. That became our new rhythm, routine, even when he didn't like it, because like I said, he's not a morning person. He's very much like his dad in that way. I love the mornings, but Lucas does not. So those were the times that he tried to fight me the most. But we also made it a routine to, even if he wasn't successful in the toilet and like he didn't go, we'd always wash our hands afterwards. Oh, this was the biggest thing. He did not get trained on a small toilet. Like, you know, those small little potties that you could buy on like Amazon or Target. We didn't train him with that. We bought in a toilet insert. And the reason we did that was because I wanted him to be comfortable on our toilet, because eventually he's gonna start using that, and I wanted him to just be comfortable using it there instead of having to retrain him. Now, maybe I didn't have to retrain him. Maybe he would have been comfortable no matter what. That's been our experience from it. I listened more to myself instead of other people, and I relied more on my own instincts. But yeah, so hopefully I gave you guys some helpful advice. I'll link everything that I mentioned down below for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, however, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. That would really help my channel. And yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you in another video. Bye guys.